My main man, Vincent Goodwill, is here with me. He just wrapped up the Good Word with Goodwill podcast that he does on Yahoo. So he warmed up for your boy. You all ready to go. You already in your groove. So let's hit the ground running. You know a lot about me, Vinny. You know a lot of my innermost secrets. I don't know if you know my favorite hip-hop act. I might even say my favorite musical act of all time. You know what my favorite hip-hop act is? Notice I said act.
Well,
Group.
I was gonna say, I guess since Black Thought is your favorite rapper,
you got it. See,
right?
You know me well. You know me well. So Black Thought's my favorite MC. He's my GOAT MC. The Roots are my favorite act. So you can imagine how hype I was to hear this in-season tournament anthem starring LL Cool J, backed up by the Roots with a rendition of LL's "Mama Say Knock You Out." And I mean, it got me going. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm in on this. And so it got me to thinking, man, because, you know, I like the anthem. I love the anthem. You had me at the Roots. I like the courts. I do like the courts. Some people think they're an eyesore. I actually do like the courts. So I like the marketing around the in-season tournament, a.k.a. the NBA Cup. I love how you put it in one of your recent Yahoo columns. You said the NBA wants you to see it, hear it, and feel it. So let me ask you, NBA historian, NBA protector, NBA mind that you are, because you always look at the big picture when it comes to the association. Are you feeling, I know it's only been a weekend. I know it's only been, it just started. But so far, are you feeling the in-season tournament?
Well, it was competitive games on Friday. You know what I mean? I think that's the important thing that we all have to make sure that you can't get lost in all of this. It's not just Vegas on December 7th through the 9th, which I'm really, really annoyed by, mind you, okay? Because it's a few days after my birthday.
Why?
And I'm not trying to go to Vegas for work.
Why not?
I'm not a Vegas guy. I'm not a Vegas guy.
Okay, wait a second. Don't lose your train of thought. All right, let's digress for a second, if we may. Okay. So I wasn't a Vegas guy either for the longest time. I never went to Vegas. I may have gone like once or twice for work in the first 40 years of my life. But the last 3-4 years of my life, I go to Vegas every chance I get. And I know you're not a big vacation guy in general, but I thought you were evolving in that respect. Why would somebody complain about an opportunity to get a paid trip to Vegas on the company dime for work right after his birthday? That sounds like a perfect opportunity for shenanigans. In fact, I may even come. When I saw Dame Lillard said, I'm just trying to get to Vegas, first person I thought of was you. It's like, I bet you Vinny is too. That's another benefit to this in-season tournament is the semifinals and finals are in Vegas. How could you not be excited about this, dude? Hell, I'll go in your place if you don't want to go.
Because here's the thing. You just said it. You get to go to Vegas and work. You know what that means? It means you got to work. Like, you ain't going on a vacation. You ain't going just to kick it. You are going to work.
Then you're doing it wrong. I thought you loved Summer League.
Where'd you think that at?
I thought that was like I thought that was your Super Bowl. Like, you're at the height of your powers and your networking power. The league is converging on Summer League. It's a nice vibe. The Thomas and Mack Center is popping. All your sources there, and you're in Vegas. I'm sorry, maybe I'm mistaking you for somebody else. Maybe there's another Vincent Goodwill, an NBA savant insider that I thought loved being at Summer League in Vegas. What you got against Vegas, old man?
It's just excess. That's all. Ain't old man. It's just excess. It's too much. I don't gamble. Like, I'm not about to throw. Okay. I'm not about throwing my money where I can't get it back. You know what I mean? And I know that you've come around on such things because we have a mutual friend who has indoctrinated you into such things. All right, cool. That's fine.
I have been known to lose a few dollars on a blackjack table. Yes.
Yeah, but better to lose a few dollars on a blackjack table than to lose it on a different type of table, right? All right, cool.
Okay, they got those types of tables in Vegas too. They got those types of tables in Vegas too,
Exactly.
And I don't look at it as a loss. That's an investment. You're investing in somebody else's future or their present, as the case may be. It's an investment. And when it comes to the idea of losing money in Vegas, if you go into Vegas for work, to me, it's like you could look at it as, oh, I'm losing Yahoo's money. indirectly. You know, like you earn it and you can lose it, right? It's like, then you break it. It's a way to break even. Whatever you earn in Vegas.
Yeah, you figure out how to make that work on an expense report, okay? You let me know how that manages itself, okay?
No, I don't mean literally. I don't mean literally charge it to the game. I mean, whatever you're getting paid to work in Vegas, you can look at it as like, okay, I'm here to work, but I'm also here to play with the money that I'm earning, which you earn your money for sure.
No, I'm just, Vegas is just like, I wanted to go see Usher at a point, but I just could never get the right weekend to go do it and everything else. And now it's about to end. Like, all right, whatever. But that Vegas is just not my jam. So going there, we gotta
get you there. We gotta get you. You gotta do it right. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna
go there kicking and screaming.
I'm not like Danny Ocean. It ain't my town or nothing like that. But it's like, when we go, we gonna do it right. We gonna have a good time. If I don't come to the NCAA, the NBA in-season tournament, semifinals and finals, if I don't get a chance to make it out there, because I may not, I am going to be there for the Super Bowl, God willing, and the creek don't rise. You should come for the Super Bowl.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Ain't that going to be super, super busy considering how condensed downtown Vegas is?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, it'll be crazier than usual. I went for the draft a couple of years ago. Draft was wild. The NFL draft was wild in Vegas.
And you'll be in Detroit for the draft in April.
Am I? Maybe. All right. Yeah, you're in Detroit. Yes, I'll be in Detroit. I'll come to see you in Detroit. Yes.
Well, I might be going for the playoffs. Who the hell knows? Like that.
Exactly.
All that stuff is happening.
But all right.
To your
so back to the NCAA, the NBA
circling
tournament.
back.
I keep saying NCAA tournament. That's the second time I did that. The in-season tournament.
Back to the in-season tournament. I was a huge skeptic. And the league knows I was a huge skeptic, because in the league also, Mike reminded me I was a huge skeptic of the play-in, for which I had to eat crow and say, you know what, this is really, really good. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a traditionalist, like in a general sense. 82 games, 4 playoff rounds, like the way that this thing has sort of modernized itself. I'm not talking about traditionalist 1968. I'm saying traditionalist as far as like reasonably the modern game. But I will say this. If it gets teams to play hard or play harder, if it almost gives you, I'm curious, Mike, if it makes teams play harder and you wind up seeing the two teams that wind up playing in the finals, playing in the NBA Cup, maybe we can have some type of connective tissue and say, okay, we were getting sent a signal that we didn't know about. Like if we see Boston and Denver, let's just say if it's Boston and Denver, we see Boston and Denver in the NBA Cup in a game that teams are playing harder than usual for in early December for some mythical trophy and a whole lot of money for a lot of people on the line, then it winds up being a success. In the meantime, every Tuesday and Friday, with the exception of Election Day being tomorrow, then you've got teams that are playing in these groups. It feels very soccer-ish, but as long as it's competitive, Mike, that's all I care about. The courts are a bit much for me, right? They're a bit much, but
a little too loud.
A little too shenanigans for me. You know what I mean? Just a wee bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I understand the goal. I understand that when you go back and you look at highlights, like, you know, someone puts forth like a mixtape for a certain player, and he does a certain move in that floor is out there, like, oh yeah, he did that on the in-season tournament. Like he put some extra sauce because it was this game on this night, and it meant a little bit more. I'm cool with that. And the NBA sent me a bottle of Hennessy in a care package.
I was about to ask you. I saw the little care package that you got hooked up with. Okay, not everybody is big time enough to get that, but what was in it? It looked like there was some John Wick type gold coins from the Continental or something. Those are chocolates. They look like
chips. You know what I mean? They look like chips, but they have team logos on it. So if you like chocolate,
what else was in it? And I saw that flex. Yeah, chocolate. You said they sent you Hennessy? How stereotypical of them, but Hennessy.
That's okay. But Hennessy is a sponsor. Hennessy is the official sponsor of the NBA, so you can get that. If I'm drinking cognac, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm drinking Remy Martin, and if I'm drinking alcohol these days, I'm probably drinking red wine or bourbon. But I'm sure we'll find a home for the Hennessy VS. I'm not turning that. I'm
looking at this picture you posted. They sent you some cranberry, with some shot glasses.
That's the mix.
Okay. So basically they buying your affection. I'm not mad at them.
I must be cheap if you buy my affection with some Hennessy and cranberry and some Starry or whatever.
It's a nice box. This is like a Jordan defining moments pack box, damn near.
It is. I mean, look, what it says is, and starting with your point about the Roots and LL, they are putting a lot into this. They want people to know that it's important to them. They've let the players know. It better be important to you. Like, this is one of those things where it's not
even
just,
if you don't understand it.
Right. Like,
comprehension is not a requisite for cooperation.
No, this is one of those things that says, y'all done, lack of a better phrase, around if you want to. That's what basically I think this says. Mess around if you want to. So you see teams putting forth a little more. You saw Steph with a game winner in Oklahoma City on Friday night, the goaltend, not goaltend thing. Not to say that they're going to be playing guys 40, 45 minutes, but if you do something that means a little bit more, and from December to maybe, the midpoint of January or whatever it is, or right after Christmas, there's like a dead spot. All right, cool. But you got another 2 full months of regular season basketball where leading into the play-in, where it's going to feel important. Maybe not important as the NBA Cup, maybe more important, but I give the NBA points for effort. I'm just curious if you're just messing around with the integrity of the regular season a little too much.
Well, it counts toward the standings. So, I do want to actually mess around with the integrity more so. And here's why. So this really all comes back to when you couple this with the player participation policy, this all comes back to the desire to make the regular season matter. Because I would say right now, you correct me if I'm wrong, because you way deeper in these NBA streets than I am, it goes postseason, off-season, regular season is the ranking when it comes to the NBA. And so what the NBA is trying to make happen, if the players care more about the regular season, then the fans will in turn care more about the regular season, right? So not only do we want you to play if you're healthy, but now we're giving you this in-season tournament where, again, even if you don't really know what it is or know how it works, it's something. Like, the players are struggling to explain it. They just know that, okay, this is important. Like you just said, it's important to the league. There's something going on here. I would advocate for, and again, you referenced this in your column, you said perhaps the league could revisit the possibility of the winning team guaranteeing itself a playoff spot or even picking its opponent once the playoffs begin. But for now, money and pride are what's at stake. So there's a prize pool of money for a bunch of multimillionaires. I don't know how much that's going to motivate them to play hard or take this more seriously. But what would make them take it seriously is if the stakes were higher, if the stakes did somehow affect in a reasonable way, Vinny, the postseason. So maybe, you know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of, and he got ripped for this. He got ripped for a lot of things, but, this among them. Bud Selig, when he had the MLB All-Star game deciding home field advantage in the World Series. Remember the whole "this time it counts" thing? It's like, I get what he was trying to do, right? And so for me, it's like, if we could make the NBA Cup, somehow marry the NBA Cup, make it independent of the actual regular season standings in such a way, and I'm thinking out loud here. I'm just spitballing here. I haven't thought this
You are
through.
going galaxy brain. I feel like you're going Martin and Boomerang right now.
But and then the black ball and the white ball knocks the black ball completely off the table, right? So I'm trying to get you here. So if we could make the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament, somehow independent of the standings in such a way where there is there are greater stakes attached. Because the thing that the players do care about is the playoffs. That's where your legends are made. They care about the postseason. So if somehow this NBA Cup can affect the postseason in addition to or in a way that the regular season standings do not, without being too gimmicky, too fluky, I think it could add to the intensity. Does that make sense? Like, it just needs, in short, we need bigger stakes. It can't just be money and pride and, you know, LL Cool J and Roots anthem and colorful courts and city edition jerseys. Like, there's got to be something else at stake to make the players truly care about it, to make it matter, and therefore to make the consumers care about it.
Yeah, but I think the only issue I have with what you said is you're separating it from the regular season. I don't want to shorten it from 82.
Complimenting. No, not complimenting. No. I'm sorry. I don't mean reduce. I'm sorry. Let me make that clear. Thank you. I don't mean reducing the number of games. I mean the final results of the NBA Cup resulting in or yielding some sort of reward relative to the postseason. So I don't know, like you mentioned, whether it's an automatic qualification, picking your opponent, home court when you otherwise wouldn't have it. I don't know, something to make this in-season tournament matter more than just what is it, $500,000?
Yeah, well, never discount the cheapness of NBA players because of $500,000. They'll do it for the guys.
It goes a long way in Vegas.
It goes that too, right? But it goes a long way towards the guys at the end of the bench, the guys who aren't making. It's almost like the NFL now, where you got the quarterback making a lot of money, and then you got a lot of guys sort of on the downside of the roster not making a lot of money. So if it's spread across equally, that means a lot to that second round draft pick who's not playing, but you're going to do it for your teammate. You're going to do it for your guy or the guy on that veterans. Think about it, what it would do for Russell Westbrook, who's on a veterans minimum deal, making maybe around $2 million or something like that. Russell Westbrook is
I get your point.
You know what I mean?
I get your point. I think Russ has made plenty of money, but I got you. Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Okay, put it like this. There's a line that Terrence Howard gave in The Best Man in the famous card playing.
I know what it is.
Okay,
so you're gonna take that word out and replace money. So the only thing better than some money is some new money.
It's more money. It's more money. New money.
All right, I got you.
Do your research. All right,
we here. Yeah.
Yep, we here. Now, for the playoff thing, and I've suggested something like that to the NBA where it's an automatic bid. And they said, well, what would stop a team from basically just tanking it for the rest of the way? I said, I don't think a team would do that, but point taken. And then someone also suggested, well, give them an extra lottery pick or extra draft pick. And I said, that doesn't make sense. A player wouldn't do that so someone else could come and take his job. Like, you're not going to play hard so the franchise could get better. So for you to come in and try to get somebody younger and cheaper than me, like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I think maybe, and the NBA has kind of messed around with picking your opponent. They've kind of bandied about. I felt like that's been murmured. Like, I don't think it ever got anything serious, but I do think it was something that was lightweight discussed several years ago. Maybe it's something that you should revisit, because then you know what happens? It means Milwaukee last year, let's say the NBA Cup happened last year, right? And Milwaukee wins the NBA Cup by virtue of, let's just say they were the best team in the regular season. Do you think there's any way on God's green earth the Milwaukee Bucks would have picked the Miami Heat in the first round of the playoffs last year? They would have went as far away from that franchise as possible.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And that changes the playoffs. That changes sort of, oh, okay, y'all avoiding us? All right, you're going to have to come, the line of next Friday. Either you going to come see me or Damon going to come see you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that comes down to. And I think there's a matter of intrigue there that makes the fans care. Because I don't know if it's about the players caring as much as you're saying we want the fans to care, because they haven't named the NBA Cup.
But the fans take their cue from the players.
Agreed. But I don't think the players don't care about the regular season. I think we as a media and as a basketball culture go and tell people that the regular season doesn't matter. I think that's us more than that's the basketball players. Because if nothing else, dudes don't want to go out there and get embarrassed if they see a dude coming at their neck because the game means something to them. Your competitive juices are going to rise, in my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right about that, man, because it's like we definitely do not celebrate the dudes who entertain us for 82 games or the majority of 82 games. We define people's reputations solely based off of what they do or don't do in the playoffs. And to me, there is no greater representation of that than James Harden, who we will get to later in this conversation. But I do want to I want to pivot ever so slightly off of this in-season tournament talk with the in-season tournament game that you will be covering next Tuesday in Oklahoma City. You are going to watch two unicorns face off in Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren. I actually want to start the conversation with Chet, who it's almost like, listen, I don't want to put a cap on what he might be able to accomplish, but it's almost like he's already Carmelo Anthony and, with all due respect, Dwayne Wade or Chris Bosh to Wemby's LeBron James, or he's, Karl Malone or Patrick Ewing or Reggie Miller, just born at the wrong time. They were born in the era of Michael Jordan. Like, or am I selling Chet short? Like, is Chet, you give me that look like, wait a minute, Chet is right there. Is Chet right there with Wemby in terms of his career prospects?
No, that's not the look.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't the look.
What was the look for?
Why you giving that look? Karl Malone was born at the wrong time. Karl Malone could have been born in any era. He still would have been a choker.
Okay, touche. I meant everybody who was playing when Michael Jordan was playing, but touche. A bad example. But no, man, I just saw you mentioned the Warriors Thunder game the other night. Chet goes for 24, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block in his 6 games. 7 of 9 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 8 of 8 from the free throw line, and those numbers don't really do justice to his impact. Because the thing with Chet was supposed to be like, oh, yeah, defensively, he'll be a difference maker. Offensively, we'll see. Like, the dude has got it at both ends. So, like, I want to focus on Chet. My point was that he's kind of overshadowed. Like, he's a rookie, too, and it may not be much of a Rookie of the Year race, but he's a pretty damn good rookie in any other year when there's not a Victor Wembanyama.
Well, to start off, remember during the Super Bowl they would have those commercials, and I think they would be called Bud Bowl, the beer commercials, like Bud Bowl.
I remember the Bud Bowl. Yeah. Oh, that's a throwback. I remember them joints.
Right. I feel like we should start that. You should start that up and call it Skinny Bowl. All right. We got Big Slim and Vic, and we got Chet, and I need to come up with a nickname for Chet. But I'm not doing this Wemby thing because that sounds too much like Gumby, and I feel like that's super lazy. So
I have a nickname. What's Big Slim?
Nickname?
Is Big Slim your official nickname? That's what you call him?
That's my official
nickname.
Can I workshop one with you? Slim. Go ahead.
Can I workshop one with you? Mind if are we in a trust tree? Are we in a nest?
We in a trust tree.
Are we in a safe space? All right, yes. I'm going to workshop one with you. Let's think about it. All right. What about, damn, wait, it even sound corny before I'm like, this is terrible.
That's the problem with workshopping.
That's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. Because I can't even say it and feel good about it. All right. What about SMH? What about SMH?
I'm SMH.
Bro, your face was priceless just now. It's like you actually thought about this? And somebody once said, if it takes you longer to explain it than to do it, it's not a good idea. So, all right, I'm saying, like, and the reason I was inspired to come up with that shit was because, like, every time I watch Big Vic, Big Slim, Wemby, whatever you want to call him, this is me the whole time. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I not only have we never seen, I don't think we've ever imagined somebody who does the things that he does at that size, at that speed, at that age, this early in his NBA career. He defies description. He's incomparable. I'm glad KD was like he's his own guy. He's incomparable. He's a 7'4" guard. So that's why I came up with SMH. Is that I know that was bad.
You sound like Darius after he first got a taste of Nina, and she defies description. She
put the santeria, the mumuda. She put it on
the
me.
bondada.
She put it on me. I was in there cooking. I was in there cheese omelets.
Something that I don't know how to make, mind you. But I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna figure out how to make omelets. No woman.
But you understand where I'm coming from.
I get
Nobody's
you.
Ever made okay.
Here's that story for another day. Yeah, a story hopefully for a future day, right? But Big Vic or Big Slim, I compare him to Jason
SMH.
Voorhees. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you stick with that, right? You go with that. I compare him to Jason Voorhees, right? Like you know how Jason, like the black dude, thought he was like on box Jason to death or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And you're running from Jason, and Jason's not running. You're running as fast as you can, and the second you turn around, he's in your face. That's what I feel like Big Vic is. I feel like, I'm gonna throw this cross court pass to get away from him. Oh, I'm a drive 94 feet to run away from it, and then next thing you look up, and he's snatching your shit out of midair. You know what I mean? Like
he's everywhere.
Omnipresent. He's everywhere. And Chet is not ground. And Chet is not the same. He's just long, skinny, and unavoidable, right? He's just unavoidable in a different way. And I think Vic, for everybody who says, I won't say who, but somebody said, oh man, I've seen Bol do that. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah,
right.
let
that be. The irony of the person saying that is that Vic's putting up numbers that he put up as a rookie. Like that's the company Vic is keeping.
And that's why it was said. That's why that ain't that special. That's why it was said, to illustrate how special it was. It
little
was
agenda
not.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact I think that Bobo probably played on dude's son's AAU team, so he's trying to hype him. It was like a multi-layered thing.
See, this is what I come to you for. Yeah, I come to you. Yeah, okay. See, beneath the surface, I get it.
Yeah, but that's still a bridge too far for me to have to sell to somebody. Because Big Vic, Big Slim is somebody that, like literally, he defies description. He's much further along.
The whole conversation is all you're doing. This is all you're doing. See, I'm telling you, I'm on to something. This is all you do when you talk about him, you watch him. This is all you're doing the whole time. No?
Yeah, but I do that. I do that for relatives too.
I'm gonna stop trying to make fetch a thing. Okay.
I do that for relatives. I do that for relatives too. When all I think about them or talking about, all I'm doing is shaking my damn head. That ain't a good thing. All right,
that's true.
So
there's multiple connotations to that. You're right.
Multiple connotations.
But it's like I'm looking forward to.
I'm so looking forward to seeing him again. I saw him his first game, and you could see it coming. But when the Spurs realize that he's their best player, when the NBA realizes that he's like going to be an all-star this year, or an all defensive player this year, like he does 3 or 4 things in a game, like every game that you're like, oh, how did he do that? Like Euro stepping from the 3-point line to dunk on you. Or, you think you've got me out of position, and all I'm going to do is put my hand up, and the ball is going to come to me like Spider-Man. Like, this is stuff is amazing, and it's only going to get better.
That's what's crazy. Like, he's only going to get better in terms of his strength, his basketball IQ, his skill. And Pop makes it a point to talk about what a willing passer he is. Which is an under discussed part of his game. But just at both ends, man. It's just, since we're doing movie references, I thought of Elliot and Bedazzled. Like he's not even a creative player. Like my son plays 2K a lot. Like I wouldn't let my son create some 7'4" dude that shoots pull-up threes and handles the ball like that. Like, nah, man, that's cheating. Like we can't even use cheat code anymore. Like it's just okay. No, it's like okay. He's a Big Vic. Like he is one of one, any cliche that you can come up with. But again, I could not have imagined seeing a player like this, because I look at KD and I look at Giannis and I look at all the steps in the evolution of the prototypical NBA player and how they got taller and faster and more skilled with more range. And then this 7'12" come along. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait. That's just it defies description. It defies imagination. And the crazy thing is, it was supposed to take a minute. I think the last time you and I talked about Wembanyama, we were talking about how it's like, people get out of control with the hype and the expectations and all the pressure and this, that, and the other put on him, and give him time. Like, he ain't need time. He went for 30. He was the best player on the court with KD and Booker on the court in his fifth game. Who does that?
Like Michael Jordan, I think, scored 35 in his fourth game. And that's because Michael Jordan is this super scorer who, like, literally, that's what he does. Scoring ain't going to be Big Vic's calling card. Like, everything is going to be his calling card. He just happened to score. And mind you, think about this. He scored 38 on the second night of not quite a back-to-back, but a second night of playing the same team in the same building. So they had film on him, right? They saw him. They were able to judge his length. They were able to scout him directly, and he got better. Usually you catch people off guard. Oh, you can't gauge his height. You can't gauge his length. Like, his height is literally, it ain't 7'4", it's to be continued. You know what I mean? Like, that's how tall he is. It's just literally, you just keep going. Right. But the fact that it wasn't the other team that made the adjustment to seeing him the first time, it was Big Slim that made the adjustment to seeing a team for the second time. So now when you're seeing him, okay, let's see how he does the first time against Jokic, who he probably won't be guarding, right? But he's going to be coming over and helping. And then watch him the second time he goes against them. And it's like, oh, he processes information quicker. And that goes to, like, the passing. The passing is anticipation, right? Same thing when you play a team for a second time. You know what's coming. You know how to operate. You know what sweet spots on the floor you're going to be able to get to. This is going to be like this. There was this Jay-Z interview they did with the Breakfast Club maybe like 7-8 years ago. And he was trying to tell everybody at Rockefeller or whatever label, might have been Rockefeller. And he was like, hey, y'all, there's this kid that's coming. His name is 50 Cent. Flood the market with whatever music you got, because when he comes out, ain't nothing happening. And then he said, and then In the Club came out. And then he was like, you got to wait out the next 18 months. Like, you're going to have to wait out this wave. And that's what Victor Wembanyama is, except you might have to wait out the next 15 years. Like, get your wins in now. If you can get some dubs in,
this is our Wemby era.
Because this is going to be as easy as it gets.
So, going back to assignments and whatnot, we were talking the other day, like, are you going to pretty much every opportunity you get, you're going to try to get to a Wembanyama game?
As long as it ain't in San Antonio. Say that.
You talk about waiting out the next 15 years. It feels like whether you like it or not, you're going to end up in San Antonio quite a bit.
I'm going to wind up in San Antonio, a place that that was the last place I wanted him to go. And I like the Spurs organization. Like,
basketball. You're talking about non-basketball reasons.
There's people that I'm really fond of, so I don't want people to take that the wrong way. Like, but it's like, man, if you could have gone, like, don't get me wrong, I didn't want him in Charlotte either. You know what I mean? I didn't want him in a way station, but as far as for his own greatness, that's probably no greater incubator than San Antonio. As far as for me and my own edification. You know what I mean? For where I do or don't want to be.
But here's my problem with you, Goodwill. I don't want to hear that you don't want to be in San Antonio, but you don't want to be in Vegas either. You just basically say you just want to be in your house. You just want to be inside.
No,
okay,
I love DC.
Which one is it?
No.
Okay.
No, I love DC. Right. I love New York.
Okay.
I absolutely adore New Orleans. New Orleans All-Star should be in New Orleans every year. I have petitioned the NBA for that.
I don't know. And this is hard for me to say. It's the hometown. The older I get, the less I like New Orleans for events. Now, when I grew up there and I was living there and I could leave and go to the East and go home when it was over with, that's one thing. But now that I'm a visitor there, whether it's Bayou Classic, whether it's Super Bowl, whether it's Final Four, whatever it is, All-Star, like downtown New Orleans is just a shit show for traffic. You talk about Vegas, like New Orleans is worse. New Orleans
but
is
you
less
can walk
equipped
around
to deal
New
with
Orleans. But you can walk through New Orleans. Yeah, the downtown is a total.
Man. My feet be hurting, man. Like nobody trying to walk a whole damn city, especially in the rain.
Now you talking about now you talking about me, right? Now you talking about me. Now,
that was my get off my lawn moment.
Yeah, and the food in New Orleans ain't no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You walk into
New Orleans food is the Victor Wembanyama of cuisine. There's New Orleans food and there's everything else, right?
So yes, so I got no. So yeah, don't make it seem like Vinnie hates every NBA city. Vinnie loves most NBA cities. I'm going to Oklahoma City in a week. You think you think that's how I'm trying to kick it?
So how good can Chet be? So if we're talking about if we're talking about Vic owning the league for the next 15 years, like where's Chet in that conversation?
Well, I would compare it to like playing Monopoly. You land on something, you land on Park Place or you land on Boardwalk. Maybe Chet is Park Place. Is Boardwalk then Park Place? At the end of the game?
I was never a Monopoly person, so I'm stumped on that one. I was never.
So whichever one, like at your last, right before you about to cross go, is Park Place and is Boardwalk, and those are the two most expensive properties.
All right.
If Big Vic is Boardwalk and that's the final one, then Chet is Park Place, and I'm starting to think it's inverted. I think he's going to be that good. I think when I saw him in college and when I talked to people, the name that came up for me, believe it or not, was people saying was Kevin Garnett. People were saying Kevin Garnett for Chet. And it's hard to imagine because he's not barking, he's not screaming, he ain't black, that sort of thing. But that's what I see. I see the versatility. Now, there was a Twitter post that I'm going to send to you later where someone just completely overhyped Chet doing like a inverted 5-1 pick and roll and said, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever." And I'm like, most big men can actually do that. So I'm going to be very careful on the hype machine because Chet is actually really good. I'm just not going to say that the normal things that he does, like the child support level things that he does, is going to be like above and beyond. But as a whole, like child support being things that you should be doing.
I know exactly what you meant. I got it. Okay.
No, you had the confused look on your face.
I wasn't confused. No, it wasn't a confused look. It was more of an admiration in that we have gone from quoting Chris Rock and saying, "Well, I ain't never been to jail. I take care of my kids. You want a cookie?" So we don't have to quote it. Now we just refer to it as the child support things. So I just thought that was impressive. And I don't know if you just do that normally or if you just do it with me because I get it. Because you ain't had to explain it to me. The audience maybe so, but I got it the first time. I just was impressed at how smooth you worked that in there. Like, the child support things, like, damn. Like, that was like a passing reference if I ever heard one. But you were saying.
Nah, I appreciate that. No, but I think the versatility that he has, and I don't think this is going to be, oh man, we're going to have kids coming into the league every year that can do this. I don't think that's the case. I think we have two unicorns that happen to enter the league at the same time. Players who don't like each other, mind you. They don't like each other either. That's
no shit.
Stuff. They do not kick it
with
each other.
Is that commonly known? I'm sorry. Is that commonly known? Well, why would they like each other? Because one's from France, and when would they have ever crossed
you still
paths?
Play each other on like the Nike circuits and stuff like that. Like, the world is smaller than ever. And here's the thing, man. You gonna look? Did Marlo and Avon like each other when they battling for corners? They battling for the skinny man corner.
Is this commonly known? I had never heard.
I don't think it's commonly known.
Rivalry there.
I don't think it's commonly known, but it will be known when those two play each other, and you hear when normally there's an admiration between young players. Oh yeah, I really like his game, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
When you hear them say, "Yeah, he headbutted me," yeah, he all right. When you start hearing that, you can be like,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, okay. Now that you mention it, okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
that's where it's gonna be at. And look, if the two skinny dudes are the only dudes in the league who gonna have a rivalry, Smith, then that's the rivalry I'm going to invest in.
So let me ask you this: let's say there was a world without Wemby. Let's say there was a world without if Victor Wembanyama were not in the league right now, what would we be saying about Chet Holmgren?
Everything we're saying about Vic, with the exception of him being like Jason. We would be saying the possibilities are endless. We would be saying the Oklahoma City Thunder have cornered the market on futures in the league, which they might very well anyway, because they got all the picks and they still got players, which I think the picks thing, to be perfectly honest, is kind of overplayed because you can own all these draft picks, but you can't play them. And even if you do play them, you can't pay them because you live in Oklahoma City. Like, you can only play 12 guys. You can only do so much at once. So it's cute and the nerds like it and everything else. But, like, once again, a little bit on the overkill side, right? I know I sound like a hater right now, but I'm not trying to be.
Well, you know what I mean? Getting old, dog. We just got less tolerance than we used to for silliness. I understand.
I'm working on my patience. I am. I'm working on my patience. I've been told.
You got to you know what you got to do? You got to get off of X. And I don't mean the drug. I mean the app. You got to get off of Twitter, the app formerly known as Twitter. It's not good. I've been a much more mellow person the less I've been on social media. Just saying.
It's not even. It's life. It's people who annoy me so much now. Like, someone says, like, you're a 60-year-old man in a 38-year-old man's body. And I'm like, no, just stop doing stupid shit.
That is an apt description of Vincent Goodwill. Yes. You're an old soul if I ever met one. Speaking of old, all right, so we are recording this on Monday afternoon, November 6th. Tonight, James Harden makes his latest debut. He definitely got the record for trade requests and debuts. James Harden makes his latest debut as a member of the LA Clippers. He's going to start alongside Russell Westbrook. And you know you've had a lot of trade demands in your career when you keep coming back to the same dudes. Like James Harden has run through every co-star, every superstar in the league. This is like his third time playing Russell Westbrook. Like they've already done this already.
They've done this once before.
Yeah, all right. So, but he's starting alongside Russ, Paul George, and Kawhi. But what's most interesting to me is that Westbrook, for now, is considered the point guard, and not the guy who led the league in assists per game last year. So with Harden, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about, like, we've made it only about the playoffs, and just as a culture, you know, when we discuss the NBA, it's all about the playoffs and what you do in the postseason. We don't care about the regular season. But I said a long time ago that I thought that maybe James Harden was just made to entertain us from November to April. You know, like maybe that's his calling. It's just to entertain us. Back when he was in Houston and, you know, putting up historic offensive numbers. So I think about Maya Angelou, and I think about when people show you who they are, believe them. And so I look at James Harden and I say, okay, like everything else with James Harden, this is going to end badly, right? Like, you're putting him alongside Westbrook, Kawhi, Paul George, all of whom in one way, shape, or form have unreliability as a part of their characteristics, whether it's availability, whether it's offensive efficiency, or whether it's showing up in big moments. All of them have questions about their reliability, if they even stay on the court together, right? They're all, I believe, free agents after this year. It seems as combustible a chemistry experiment as I can imagine. And yet, there's a part of me that's like, could this work? Could these guys actually, like, could Ty Lue get them to sacrifice? Could James Harden be like, yo, this is my last shot at getting paid? Could they actually figure out a way to make this work? Again, provided they stay on the court together.
Well, I think there's a better chance of this working than in Philadelphia, which I didn't think would work from the moment that they got together. he and Joel Embiid. Here's the thing. I feel like they have the same fatal flaw. You can't depend on them. Yeah. You can't depend on them in the last 5 minutes of a game. Mm-hmm. With James, here's the one thing I will say about James. And it's going to sound like a defense of him. But to rewind, in Brooklyn, he wanted to get out when Kyrie Irving started losing his mind. That sounds like a wise man, okay? Right?
right.
Sounds like a wise man.
You can't blame him for that. You can't blame him for
it.
Yeah.
All right.
I see where this is going.
And leaving Philly, you take a pay cut. Yeah. It appears there was a wink, wink, nod sort of thing that was not fulfilled on. Breach of trust leads to get me out of here. So now you're on your last stop. The macro lead.
And Houston had run its course.
Right. Micro leads to macro. People don't care about the details. All we care about is where are you now? So he's at his last stop, theoretically. Mm-hmm. James Harden is still a pretty damn good basketball player. Like, you may not be able to depend on him as being your second best player, but if he's your third best player. He might be their
fourth. He may be their third. He may be their fourth on some nights. No, some nights. Westbrook has his moments.
As a general sense, yeah.
Okay. No, general sense, he's third in his pecking order. But he might be fourth on some nights. And not to cut you off, it felt like in Brooklyn, that's what he was counting on. Was like, I could be second or third here. It ain't all on me the way it was in Houston. In Philly, he's not good enough to be second on a championship team alongside a guy, to your point, that has his own flaws. But again, if they're all healthy and he's the third banana, even fourth, that's not a bad spot for him. That's part of the reason why I'm optimistic.
And the one thing you know about him, he's like Pac-Man. He's going to eat up games. He's going to eat up minutes. Like, you know that he's going to show up and play, like you said, from now until April. Who knows what happens in May and June, but all you need him there for is to get you to the playoffs while those guys load manage or deal with injuries or whatever it is. And if he's your third best player in the playoffs, that means he's Chris Bosh. That means he's Austin Reeves. That means he's Michael Porter Jr., which means you never think of those guys as guys who lose you games, right? You don't think of Michael Porter Jr. for the Nuggets. If he had a 2 for 16 game, you would think about it, but you ain't pointing the finger directly. But if Michael Porter Jr. scores you 40 in the playoff game, you're winning the series. If James Harden, as his third best player, scores 40 once, you're winning the series. If he scores 40 twice, man, you are cooking with something special. Because that
conversely,
means
if he scores 40 twice and then has stinkers the rest of the way, you're losing that series as Philadelphia.
But here's the thing. If he has 2 stinkers in the playoff series as your third best player, that just means he's your third best player. You know what I mean? That doesn't guarantee that you lose a series. But if he gives you some transcending games, baby, you got something. And if you don't have Paul and you don't have Kawhi, you're cooked anyway, no matter what he does. So I think it's a low risk, high reward possibility for them when all they have is, what do the Clippers have? Disappointment.
Nothing to lose. I'll tell you what they don't have, something to lose at this point. It was the perfect spot for him. It was the only spot for him. It's the perfect spot for him. I don't want to keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe because it always ends badly with him, whether it's a partnership with an individual player or an organization, and he's been the common denominator.
This is the last one. I mean, this is the last one.
But it does feel like
he ain't Antonio Brown. He ain't, you know what I'm saying? He ain't Antonio Brown. You know what I mean?
Right. No,
the track record ain't great, but he ain't that.
No, he's not. He's not problematic, I would say. He can be toxic in his own way, but he's not problematic.
We've all been toxic.
I'd be interested. I've spent enough time beating up on him till at this point I'm like, I want to see it work. I really do. I want to see it work for James because I've had enough of talking about James Harden in that context of what do you want out of this basketball life? What are you searching for? What are you trying to accomplish? What's important to you? Like, I'm tired of talking about him from a trade request perspective. You know, I would much rather see him actually, do something in the postseason. And not just in the NBA Cup. to bring the conversation full circle. I hope he ain't go to the Clippers to win the NBA Cup. Hey man, I appreciate you.
I wouldn't mind spending the finals in LA. I wouldn't mind spending the finals in LA. I don't think I'll be there, but
not Vegas. Not Vegas. We got to get you on. We're gonna get you on Vegas. That's my next assignment. You come and kick it with me in Vegas. All right.
Get your permission slip signed first.
Not only do I have a permission slip signed, I have an account. I putting money aside. Like I have a petty cash account, my allowance, what I am allowed to blow in Vegas. See, that's the key to Vegas. If you go to Vegas, you have to have a certain number that you are comfortable losing. And that number is different for everybody. But Absolutely. You cannot sit at them tables and just wing it. You got to have a budget. You got to say, I'm losing this, and if I lose this, I will not lose sleep. When you start going above and beyond that, you start getting crazy with it and just kind of like going with the flow, that's when you get in trouble, and that's when you got problems at home. So no, I've learned that. Don't hit that ATM too many times. You know, go out there with your allotted amount of money that you're willing to lose.
Just dinner, and let's discuss our workload.
Got a hell of a load. By the way, I think this was a record. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. This was a record for references in one podcast. Congratulations. You are the Victor Wembanyama of pop culture, black cinema references in a single conversation. You're the king, my friend.
We did it. We did it, Joe.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Be good.
Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks so much for kicking it with your main man, Michael Smith. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, but also subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Rate it, review it, tell your friends about it. Oh, and be sure to follow me on social media.